A'ja Wilson, the MVP of the WNBA, the greatest player in women's basketball that nobody cares about. She was caught on tape a year ago.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point.
Preaching to, wagging her finger at, telling Kelsey Plum, her teammate, about her, white privilege and how Paige Becker understands it and blah, blah. Anyway, this old clip has gone viral this week.
And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege and like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment.
A'ja Wilson, the MVP of the WNBA, the greatest player in women's basketball that nobody cares about. She was caught on tape a year ago.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point.
Preaching to, wagging her finger at, telling Kelsey Plum, her teammate, about her, white privilege and how Paige Becker understands it and blah, blah. Anyway, this old clip has gone viral this week.
And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege and like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a
What if I told you that the most intense rivalry in the WNBA goes beyond just scoring and stats? Recently, A'ja Wilson challenged Caitlin Clark over issues of reparations, sparking a big conversation. But this isn't just about two players exchanging barbs. It's shining a light on bigger topics like race, marketing, and who truly gets recognized in women's basketball.
One of the more interesting aspects of this fanhood is that some of the biggest supporters of Caitlin Clark are not whites. They're actually black males. But that's the issue, though. I don't understand this. Many of these people, like A'ja, are so used to being able to dispense and force white guilt upon others. This has become, Jason, and tell me if you agree or disagree. This NBA playoff ratings dip post Caitlin Clark is the sports version of white flight and gentrification.
Imagine this. A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark, two of the biggest stars in basketball, are joking after a game. Then, out of the blue, A'ja brings up reparations. The room goes silent. It's such a bold move that no one knows how to respond at first. But then, social media lights up. Fans are sharing clips, players are chiming in, and just like that, what started as a playful moment turns into a major conversation across the league.
The way this thing was going viral, like you said, Jason, and I saw the comments, which I was liberally retweeting on Twitter, there should be a hashtag now, Stop A'ja Hate.
Let's start there. Is that a compliment that she understands her white privilege?
I mean, what is she really saying? Like, hey, white girl, you know what, you cracker-ass cracker? You have a lot of white guilt, and I approve. But it's amazing, but this is the problem that a lot of people have with Caitlin Clark fans and supporters. They don't buy into it.
What's surprising is that this seemingly lighthearted joke is actually highlighting some serious issues in the WNBA that have been largely ignored. There's a lot more to this story than it appears at first glance, and we're here to unpack it all. A'ja Wilson's comment about reparations isn't really about money. It's sparking a conversation about race in the league. Why do some players struggle for recognition while others achieve fame almost instantly?
But to me, it was a message being sent to Caitlin Clark of like, you want to come into our league, this is how you need to be. And I think it's a message to Nike. I probably tend to think it wasn't even on accident. Knew she was being recorded, knew it would get out there. And it was, because I think this was a year ago, and it's gone viral now this week. Again, as I talked about last week, based off the Ethan Strauss deal, A'ja Wilson has a signature shoe and logo with Nike. No one's gonna buy her shoe. So there's a mindset that A'ja has to adopt to justify getting treatment she knows she doesn't deserve.
Let's break this down. A'ja Wilson isn't just making a playful jab. She's addressing a serious issue in women's basketball. Wilson has been outspoken about the struggles that Black players face in the WNBA, especially when it comes to getting the recognition they deserve. She noted that a talented Black woman can excel, yet still not receive the spotlight she should. That's a powerful statement coming from a two-time MVP and champion. Now, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. This rookie is making waves on social media, grabbing headlines, and attracting fans at a remarkable rate. But her rapid rise has led to some tough questions about race and marketing in the sport. Wilson didn't shy away from this either, saying it frustrates her when people claim race isn't a factor because it very much is. She suggests that Clark's success isn't just due to her talent. It's also influenced by the fact that she's a white player in a sport that is primarily Black. Clark is receiving a huge marketing boost, with soaring jersey sales and plenty of media attention. But what about other top WNBA players? Are they getting the same recognition? This brings us to the bigger picture. The WNBA has been struggling with viewership for years, but with stars like Wilson and Clark, things are starting to shift. Interestingly, the rivalry between Wilson and Clark could actually benefit the league. Their differing styles, both on and off the court, are generating buzz and getting people talking about the WNBA in new ways. Wilson's comments are sparking crucial discussions about fairness in how players are promoted.
You hate it when they're here. You don't like their presence. Oh my God, look at what they're doing. They're so awful. Then when they leave, the Caitlin flight, oh my God, I can't, what do we do now? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, it's a good analogy. Yes, it is.
And these players that are now complaining, if there are any, about the ratings, about being abandoned. Well, wait a minute. So that has become something that for them, that word, problematic. And it's also set up a cultural debate on the other side of the street. Many of you were the very same ones that was pointing the finger and saying you're racist and we don't want or need your support. So in theory, you're getting what you want and you should be happy for the lower ratings. So be careful what you wish.
It's not just about who the best player is. It's also about who gets to represent the league and why. But here's the bigger picture. This isn't just a rivalry between Aya Wilson and Caitlin Clark. It's about the future of the WNBA. How can the league ensure that all its stars shine, regardless of their race? And how can they leverage this moment to grow the game for everyone? This conversation ties into Caitlin Clark's professional debut, which came with enormous hype and expectations. When she stepped onto the court for her first WNBA game, the excitement was electric. But it didn't go exactly as everyone hoped. While Clark scored 20 points, which is impressive, she also set a record with 10 turnovers. That's right, 10 in her very first game. You might think that's a negative, but it actually highlights the immense attention she brings to the league. Fans packed the stands to watch her, even during a tough performance. That's the kind of star power that can really change the game. Let's break it down. Clark had phenomenal college stats, and now she's leading the WNBA in assists, creating opportunities not just for herself, but also for her teammates. It's as if she has an uncanny ability to see the game unfold.
Charles Barkley talking about the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and the people he blames for blowing this whole Caitlin Clark deal.
People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they try. What is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But these ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have this thing.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Caitlin Clark and Aya Wilson have very different styles of play. Clark excels at long-range shooting, aggressive drives, and incredible playmaking. In contrast, Wilson is a powerhouse in the paint and a defensive force that opponents dread. What's wild is that Wilson herself has praised Clark, saying, "You watch her, and it's just unguardable. There's nothing anyone can do to stop it. She's that dominant." That's some serious respect coming from one of the top players in the league. Now, let's focus on Clark's shooting skills. She's pulling up from 30 to 34 feet and still hitting over 37% of those shots. Now that's impressive. She's like a walking highlight reel, making defenders look foolish and creating opportunities for her teammates. But here's the real kicker. Clark isn't just scoring, she's also creating her own shots. This is a crucial skill in the WNBA, and while many rookies struggle with it, Clark makes it look easy.
If Caitlin Clark somehow wins the WNBA championship this year, she will have put together the greatest rookie season in the history of professional sport. Include Caitlin Clark in the conversation, as I like to do, but we're also going to bring the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Caitlin Clark, Deion Sanders, all in the same boat with historical perspective and knowledge. And more than anything, I'm going to blast the media.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Caitlin Clark and Aya Wilson have very different styles of play. Clark excels at long-range shooting, aggressive drives, and incredible playmaking. In contrast, Wilson is a powerhouse in the paint and a defensive force that opponents dread. What's wild is that Wilson herself has praised Clark, saying, "You watch her, and it's just unguardable. There's nothing anyone can do to stop it. She's that dominant." That's some serious respect coming from one of the top players in the league. Now, let's focus on Clark's shooting skills. She's pulling up from 30 to 34 feet and still hitting over 37% of those shots. Now that's impressive. She's like a walking highlight reel, making defenders look foolish and creating opportunities for her teammates. But here's the real kicker. Clark isn't just scoring, she's also creating her own shots. This is a crucial skill in the WNBA, and while many rookies struggle with it, Clark makes it look easy.
Clark's shoe, whenever that is released, comes out, they ought to call it the air suppression. Because basically they are marketing A'ja Wilson by suppressing anything having to do with the most popular player in the league.
Since you brought it up, I'm going to touch on it just for a bit. The ratings, I believe 2 Sundays ago with Caitlin Clark, she drew 1.8 million viewers on an NFL Sunday. I really do. And I think moving forward, I think that number is going to, as the playoffs continue on, I think that number is going to continue to come down.
I wonder, this actually needs to be studied. What other sports league has diminishing ratings as you get closer to the championship?
Aya Wilson's comments have sparked an unprecedented conversation about race and marketing in the WNBA. She made a powerful statement when she said that a top-performing Black woman might not always get the recognition she deserves. This has prompted tough questions about who receives the spotlight and why. What's intriguing is that Caitlin Clark isn't avoiding this discussion either. She's advocating for more opportunities to elevate women's basketball, which is significant. 2 of the biggest names in the game are using their influence to push for change. Now, imagine if the WNBA seized this moment. What if they harness this buzz to find new ways to promote all their players, not just the biggest stars? We could see a fresh approach to marketing in women's sports. The WNBA could showcase a wider range of stories and highlight players from diverse backgrounds. They could also partner with organizations that promote racial equity in sports.
She's the Tim Duncan of the WNBA. Hey, that's great. I love Tim Duncan, great player. Doesn't sell shoes, doesn't drive TV ratings. That's not what he does. That's who A'ja Wilson is. It's all just it's endless reparations. Give me things I don't deserve, and white girl, you take a backseat to me.
I think exactly is one of the reasons why for the past 20 some odd years, nobody has cared about this league, why there is certainly an antipathy towards it. That's what these young ladies, these fine feminist athletes seem to be asking for and almost begging for. But here's the issue. They don't want the ramifications of such acts.
Imagine campaigns that celebrate the unique journeys of every WNBA player, not just those who get the most media attention. But it's not only about the league. Fans have a crucial role to play too. What if we started following and supporting a wider range of players, sharing their stories, buying their merchandise, and attending their games? That kind of grassroots support can make a significant impact. Some teams are already stepping up to the challenge. Cheryl Reeve, head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, has emphasized that the league needs to adapt quickly. She noted that with growth happening so rapidly, sticking to the old ways won't cut it anymore. Teams that don't adapt risk getting left behind. That's a coach who truly understands the landscape. What's fascinating is that this entire situation could actually benefit the WNBA. It's generating conversation, highlighting important issues, and advocating for positive change.
They've made Caitlin Clark more interesting. They've made Caitlin Clark the biggest star in American sports. They got this conversation wrong. The ladies, the active players in the WNBA, they haven't screwed up anything. Their little petty jealousy and sniping at Caitlin Clark is why 2 million people are tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball and to watch a bunch of other women blow layups every night.
That kind of drama can elevate the league to new heights. But here's the real takeaway. This isn't just about Aya Wilson and Caitlin Clark. It's about every player in the WNBA who is striving to make their mark. It's about building a league where everyone has an equal chance to shine, no matter their background. So, what's the significance of the Wilson-Clark story? It goes beyond two stars competing on the court. It's about transforming the game for everyone. They're challenging us to confront issues we've overlooked for too long. What's really exciting is that while they're lighting up the scoreboard, they're also inspiring the WNBA to improve. Clark advocates for more opportunities for all players, while Wilson pushes for everyone to get their fair share of recognition. And guess what? We're the real winners. We get to enjoy incredible basketball and be part of something larger. So here's the deal. If you love this game, show your support for all the players, not just the big names. Watch the games, buy their merchandise, and spread the word. When we come together, we can help make the WNBA better for everyone.